You're retro trekking with the Caramel Apples podcast, the apple snack that brings you a retro vibe, both crunchy and sweet, with your hosts Kennedy Rizzo and Cooper Lee.
You have been served. Let's caramel dive in. Coop, when you think about a housekeeper and or butler situation in retro pop culture, what exactly comes to mind? Well, no doubt a number of nostalgic examples come to your mind. Hence, our intended discussion on this very topic this week.
Oh, yes, and so interesting. So, totally, television and movies have the influence to shape, how we think of housekeepers and or butlers. And the personas that come to mind in reaching back through our mental files and recall the power they had in pop culture.
Oh, I agree. I totally agree. We've had many various colorful examples over the years of how this particular profession played out and was portrayed on both the small and big screen.
True. A housekeeper and or butler was often used as a classic representation of the protagonist's wealth, but more importantly, more often than not, their shining presence or portrayal served a far greater purpose than cleaning or cooking.
Yeah. So we've got quite a few we've dug up. Our list is quite extensive. So we're gonna briefly jump in and talk about a few of these of our favorites in our retro memories. Some of them, I have to admit, I wasn't, I personally don't remember watching a couple of these programs, but because they were so big in pop culture, you know who they are.
Right, yes.
Which is why that's what we're basing our discussion on today, so you'll just have to forgive us. We do things the caramel apple way. So.
Yes.
So here are a few of the most nostalgic characters we remember well and love from retro television and film.
So, what's one of the first ones that you would call to mind?
I would say, now, we didn't watch this one much, but this is one of the familiar ones, is Lurch.
Oh, yeah.
From the Addams Family.
Yes.
So, he was that Frankenstein-looking monster housekeeper butler. He didn't say much. He communicated minimally. Mm-hmm. And he wasn't really the best housekeeper anyway.
Wonder why.
But he was very much part of the Addams Family. I think he really had a penchant to be nice and helpful to Pugsley and Wednesday. So he had a paternal camaraderie with the kids, but he really did overall have a loyal connection with the Addams Family.
Yeah, that's a good one. Like you said, we weren't super duper familiar with that one, but yes, from what we saw, that's definitely someone that would fit what we're talking about.
I agree.
Now, here's one who, she was loyal to the family, but she had her own way about it.
Yes, who's that? Coop always has the good ones.
Well, who can forget the Jeffersons, right?
Oh, Lord, yes.
It was a list of colorful characters.
Yes.
And their housekeeper, Florence, was the maid. She was no different. She was definitely colorful, and she brought a lot of, witty jokes and things like that.
She was a bad mama jamma. She didn't take no mess off of anybody.
No, I honestly feel sorry for George.
Oh, she made him crazy.
Oh, she did. He wanted to give her a 1-2 punch, and she's like, no, I don't think so.
Yeah, he's like, who's the boss here? She looked at him her little way like, me. She kept her job.
Yes. He goes sashaying out of the room once again, and she won. A point for Florence.
Remember, as she'd go back to her room, she'd retire to her quarters after a snark or whatever.
Yes.
They'd all just look after her. They would all just look like, did she really just do that? Yes, she did.
She did just do that. Like you said, she still had her job the next day.
Yes. So, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say she nearly stole the spotlight pretty much. So
She did. She did. She's one. Now, we did watch The Jeffersons, so she was actually one of our favorites there. Let's see. Let's talk about... Okay, so this is another one. My list is the bunk one because we didn't really watch this. Very familiar with it. This is completely retro pop culture. And that was Brady Bunch.
Oh, yes.
And it was Alice.
Yes.
Yeah, Alice. So Alice, she was when people, like we've talked to people that, was pretty regular about watching the Brady Bunch. She was an integral part of the family as well. Like she would actually cook and clean.
Yes.
She was basically almost like the mother. Like she really took care of everything, and she gave advice and was, a very trusted part of the cast.
Yeah.
But like I said, we didn't really watch the Brady Bunch. It was a little before our time of choosing entertainment. Like our parents really didn't watch it, did they? They didn't really watch it either.
No, but lately.
Lately, I knew it was coming.
Yeah. It kind of has found its way into mom's repertoire, So she's been enjoying the Brady Bunch as of late.
She has. So there's always Alice. So another one we actually kind of watched, and it was actually his show, was Benson.
Yes. Now, remind me, was it a governor that he worked for or a senator?
Yes, it was the governor.
Okay.
Yes, he was a mess. And Benson was the same way. He was a male Florence.
Yes.
Benson was a smart mouth. And there was nothing anybody could do about it. So they would ask him something, and Benson was like, pound salt.
Yeah.
But he kept his job. So, it wasn't bad enough that they fired him. He was still there.
Now, didn't he work with the cook? Was her name Krause?
Yes.
Gretchen Krause?
Yes.
Now, they had sort of a little understanding, didn't they, at some point?
I think we picked up on that.
I think so, too.
For the time, that was kind of considered taboo. But you did pick up on that.
Yes.
So whether it was real, or if it was just in the show, we picked it up.
Right.
So, way to go, Benson. Gretchen was a mess, too.
So, moving on. Do you remember, there was a little show called Happy Days, right?
Yes.
And I believe this show had a star that came from that. I think Happy Days was his beginning. Scott Baio?
Yes.
Am I mistaken about that?
No, you're not.
This show that he was in that fits the parameters we're talking about was called Charles in Charge.
Charles in Charge. That's the only thing I remember about the show.
Yeah.
Is the song.
Yeah. I do remember watching it though.
Yeah.
For some reason I'm thinking it was on Saturdays, maybe? Early Saturday.
Could have been.
We could be wrong about that, but yeah, Charles in Charge. It's just interesting how in pop culture things will go in waves, right?
It really does.
You'll have a barrage of cop shows and a bunch of judge shows, or you'll have a bunch of whatever. Mm-hmm. And these shows featuring the housekeeper, maid, or butler, or whatever, seem to kind of go in the same wave. Like it was kind of popular right then. So
yeah. So yes, Charles in Charge. That's another one in retro pop culture. So then let's go to, this was not, I can't remember if it officially is in our decade parameters, but Fresh Prince of the Bel-Air.
Oh yeah.
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Good grief.
Fresh Prince in the Bel-Air.
Of the Bel-Air. Of the Bel-Air. We're nuts. I think if anything, it was 89, maybe.
Okay.
It started 88 or 89, but it was definitely early 90s. But Oh my goodness, the housekeeper butler Jeffrey.
Yes.
He was another one. I think he was like Benson. He was like an updated version. He had his little snarky comments that he busted out there.
I think you're right. And he'd say whatever, and then he'd turn his nose up and turn on his heel and walk out the door.
Yeah, they were like, is that confidence or what? He kept his job as well, so it worked.
What do they say? Good help is hard to find, apparently.
And I think he got along real well with Will.
Yes.
So I think in the show, actually, I think they actually were buddies.
Trying to help him get out of trouble because he was caught and stuff.
Okay, so who else you got on your list?
Okay,
sorry we're going through this real quick, but you know.
Now, who can forget 89 Batman?
Oh yes, we haven't done film yet.
No. We have to mention Alfred.
Let's do it.
He was /driver, /parental unit. He pretty much did everything for Bruce Wayne. And Batman. I mean, because obviously he knew.
He knew.
He would go in and mess around in the Bat lair, right? So, I just think it's really cool that, you know, anytime we can mention 89 Batman.
Oh, yeah.
And here, we found another reason, so.
Perfect occasion.
Alfred Rudd, yes.
Alfred Pennyworth. Okay, my turn. A quick mention of an 80s housekeeper. This one was kind of cool. It's Higgins in Magnum P.I.
Oh, yeah.
But everybody kind of picked up that Higgins wasn't just the housekeeper butler. Like, Higgins was the big kahuna.
Oh, I don't think I knew that.
Yeah. Oh, is that a spoiler alert?
Yes, it is for me.
Okay, yeah, I think he was working for Higgins, but, you know, he posed as it's almost like a fabled benefactor somewhere. It was Higgins. I believe it was Higgins.
Okay. Did Magnum P.I. know that?
No.
Really?
I don't think he ever knew.
Intriguing.
I didn't see the end of the series, so he may have kind of
let him in on the secret.
Yeah, but I don't know I'm not official on that. So maybe the Orchard Archivers know.
Yeah.
Maybe you can help us out. Are you an 80s retro show fan? Did Magnum ever find out that Higgins was the benefactor that, employed him in his PI duties? Who else you got there, Coop?
All right. How about Rosie from the Jetsons?
Hey, it's the tech age. We got to get some tech help in there.
Yeah. She was cool. The Jetsons were cool.
Okay.
They were so... It's just funny how they were supposed to be projected so far into the future, and they are so not. They are Stone Age as far as futuristic, right? But yes, Rosie, she'd go around and I think she had like a black painted skirt on, and
yeah,
I think she had like the little doily like for the hat.
Yes, she actually had the maid uniform.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she'd boop, 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 and she'd go around from room to room. Mr. Jetson and Mr. Spacely. Yeah, like she was handling her business, so.
And who was Elroy? The kid, or was that the dog?
That was the son.
Okay, and then Elroy. Oh, nice job, Coop. I'm glad you got something in there from, in the animated realm.
Yes.
Let's talk about, okay, so Mom, she loved this show. It was Heart to Heart. And their chauffeur, driver, housekeeper, cook, and all that was Max.
Okay.
So that was a good show. Like, they had that high fluting, that high rolling. We live in California.
Yes.
Doing detective work and this is our Max, And he'd wear the little driver's hat and everything. Like, they looked like old money.
Yeah.
This was the pull of that show. And of course, he was supposed to be as Robert Wagner and Stephanie Powers. So like, our mom was like, yeah, he's hot to trot, whatever. But she was really beautiful.
Yes.
They looked like old money. Like, they looked like they could have a driver, a housekeeper, butler, whatever. Like, they weren't playing. They weren't posing.
Right, yes.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Thank you.
Totally forgot about that. But yes, that was high on Mom's list at
It
the
was.
time. She loved Heart to Heart.
It was.
How about Mrs. Garrett?
Oh, okay, this one's cool. She likes Facts of Life.
Yes, Facts of Life just holds a special place, right? Because
Yes.
here you got these girls. They were a little bit older than us, but we were watching them go through their drama and stuff, and Mrs. Garrett was their go-to. Like,
Yeah.
girls. Like, she would take care of them. She was pretty much their mom.
Yes. Yes.
But she really took care of all the necessities of the house too, and also teaching them life lessons.
Yes.
But I do believe Mrs. Garrett, didn't she get her start off of Different Strokes?
Yes, because that's who she was there.
That's insane.
She was their housekeeper.
So it's like you start connecting dots.
Yes.
Right? Like, and this is clearly after you get older and, have a mind to go, wow, okay,
Yeah.
things are connected.
Yeah.
At the time, would it have made any sense? That is insane.
That is. So me and Coop actually had a little bit of a discussion before we decided to do our show this week. We were trying to figure out, because All in the Family was in there, the Jeffersons was in there, and Maude was in there. And we were like, so who worked for who and what? Were they just neighbors or whatever? So I did a little research, and now Coop's going to find out. So actually, Maude was cousins to Edith from Archie Bunker. So that was the connection there.
Okay.
But Maude, which was B. Arthur, her housekeeper was Florida Evans from Good Times.
Was she Florida Evans?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, so I think Good Times spun off of that, which I didn't realize that All in the Family was from Chicago, because then that where Good Times was from.
Yeah.
Florida Evans was the housekeeper.
Okay, so whenever Florida would go to work in Good Times, she's actually going to work for Maude.
At least one of her stops.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's what we're talking about. I love the connections.
I thought you'd find that interesting. I did. I was like, we were kind of off because we thought it was the Jeffersons.
Yeah, because they were moving on up, so.
Yeah. And then they got Florence, so they got punked. Okay, so another saucy housekeeper was Nell Carter in Give Me a Break.
She was kind of like a governess, too, wasn't she?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, I don't know about you. We just talked about picking up Benson and Krause. Did you kind of pick up their dad, the girls' dad, and Nell kind of had an understanding?
Yes, that would have been my guess.
It was and please, I'm not saying that because Nell was heavy, but that was kind of the elephant in the room in a good way. Nell was awesome.
Yeah.
I just wish that they weren't so shy about that back then.
Yeah, it's like if that's indeed what you're driving at, just get there, right? It's like you don't have to be.
Yeah. Their chemistry is on point.
Oh yeah,
They have fuss and stuff, but that's what is part of it. Their chemistry, like they had the good moments and they had the rough moments, but they still were friends. Like they had an understanding.
Yeah, it's like if there wasn't a certain level of comfort, like in relationships. It definitely wouldn't have gone to the levels that they'd go to.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was definitely an understanding there.
And those girls looked to her. They were like, that's kind of like our mom figure. So I don't know. Give Me a Break was a good show.
It was.
I'm glad you put that one on the list, Coop. Okay, we're about to wind down. I think we got a couple others. What you got there?
Just quick firing off. Here's a couple men. You had Mr. Belvedere.
Pardon me, would you have any Grey Poupon? But of course, Grey Poupon.
He had his whole show, right?
He was a mess.
That was a good one.
With his English accent.
Yes. So we had Mr. Belvedere, Charles and... No. We already did Charles in Charge.
Yes, thanks. Let's not go there again.
Let's not...
Did I just say that? Sorry.
Who's the boss?
Oh, yes, we haven't touched that one yet.
I'm trying to think of what his name is in real life.
Come on, kid.
Oh my goodness.
Come on, kid.
Tony Danza. There it is.
I almost thought I had to bring out the fire extinguisher on that one. Punishment to the umpteenth degree.
Oh, it's like, has it been that long? Yes. So Tony Danza, he was the star. I believe his name was Tony in the show. Okay. We didn't watch it a whole lot. I remember, like, it would come on, and then I think Mom would, like, turn it to something else she would rather watch. So we didn't really, it wasn't in Mom's repertoire.
No, which means it wasn't in ours.
Right. It's like, okay, whatever. You got anybody else you could think of?
Another film one, real quick, was Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yes.
I think that was still 90s. That was early 90s or mid 90s. So
Yes.
it's kind of a little bit out of our parameters. But, we had Alfred, Mrs. Doubtfire. That was a favorite for a lot of people. They loved that movie. And the premise of it was he did all that so he could, because I guess his ex-wife or whatever got remarried or was interested in somebody else. Yes. So another male figure was in his children's lives and he wasn't having it. So he's like, I want to see my kids. I will take care of them anyway.
Yes.
I think it was Pierce Brosnan, wasn't it?
Yes, the love interest. It sure was. Uh-huh.
So, everybody loves Mrs. Doubtfire. So Robin Williams in that one.
Good one.
And one more, I think. Let's see. Not unless you have somebody.
We did already kind of mention Good Times with that being Florida Evans, but remember Bookman? He was the maintenance man, so we can kind of throw him in there.
Okay.
He was always, what do they call him? Was it Fiona would call him Booger or...
Yeah, and she'd make fun of his weight, which he really wasn't that big.
No.
Compared to what larger people with their size now, Bookman was not heavy.
No.
But she'd make fun of his, she'd call him fatso. I mean,
she did.
She was mean.
She probably actually had a crush on him. she was downplaying it, right?
And they slammed the door in his face. He mean mid-sentence, wham! That's so rude.
And one more that was the maintenance man too.
Okay.
Since we're gonna throw them in there, was Schneider on One Day at a Time.
Yes.
He always showed up with a plunger in his hand, I think. And it's like, oh, that's disturbing.
Yes, Coop is a germ. She's a germphobe. She's like, don't be flinging those little beads of nasty all around.
Yeah, you don't do that.
Oh my goodness. And there's probably more that, we haven't really touched on or been able to cover this week. But what do you think, Orchard Archivers? Who was your favorite housekeeper, maid, or butler from times past? The retro past. Share your memories with us. Who did you like? Who did you look forward to seeing week after week on your favorite shows? Weigh in. So, I don't know. I love everything we talk about when it comes to retro greatness. And this was actually Coop's idea. So this has been a fun episode, to talk about some of the people that made us laugh in these shows, and it wasn't always traditional fodder, the mom and the dad, that was all around that. But these people were heavy hitters on their own.
They were. They helped really drive the story.
Yes. So well done. Maybe we need to get us a butler or housekeeper. Fat chance.
Yeah. And that's it for this week's Apple Snack. But as you know, there's always more where that came from. So stay tuned. Subscribe, rate, and if this episode entertained you, please spread the word. See you next time in the Retro Orchard, and thanks so much for listening.